Okay. This is Helios's son, which isn't bringing sun, and has two NFEs versus um Daiya's broken team. Okay. I'm very interested to see this stupid little Scraggy come again, because Scraggy already came to his first game. I guess Scraggy didn't actually get sent out within his first sets because it never needed to be. So maybe he just really wants to log its appearance early. But I don't see what it really adds towards this matchup. I could be wrong, but actually, I do think that Helios is signifying to me some sort of Trick Room team because I think Medicham may or may not get Trick Room, and I think Bronzor for sure gets Trick Room. I'm looking at stuff like Mammosaur, I'm looking at stuff like Trickology, and I do think that he might want to operate within the Trick Room itself.
And Scraggy.
Well, yeah, it's Scraggy, but I'm looking at Scraggy as like the guy who sets up the Trick Room with Fake Out. But also, it's concerning to me that like Scraggy is being run here because like, is that the focus sash? Because I'm assuming it has to be Eviolite Bronzor, right? You can't run any other item on that guy. So it's Sash? Scraggy? Which then what item on your Medicham? Or Mammosaur? I don't know. A lot of questions, not a lot of answers. Maybe I just have to see. Okay, it's Mammosaur, Bronzor. I mean Bronzor surely has to be Levitate if it's paired next to Mammosaur. I'm assuming it's gonna be a Scarf Earthquake coming out, and then maybe a Trick Room Bronzor, or like I don't know what else Bronzor does besides Trick Room, I can't lie. I mean, a Psychic move into the Sneasel would be good, but I don't know if he's running it. Meanwhile, the Fake Out seems pretty possible from Sneasel, or a Coaching, or just double protect the Scarf. You can see. Fake Out into Mammosaur, not surprising. Brittle Blade does half. There's a Flinch and a Trick Room. Yep. Helping Hand, and it doesn't look to be Scarf Mammosaur if it's clicking Helping Hand. Yeah. Oh, and it's not a Sash Sneasel. Wow. Um, can't tell if that's supposed to be Eviolite then, and maybe Sash is on something like a Pachirisu or the Ceruledge itself with weak armor possibly. But yeah, not seeing Sash on the Sneasel is pretty big for Helios because now he's within Trick Room, and I think the Mammosaur might underspeed the whole team with Helping Hand Earthquake. We do at least see. Oh, we're seeing a clear amulet Mammosaur, which I understand like helps against Intimidate, but that also signifies that it's probably heat, thick fat Mammosaur to resist the Brittle Blade. Because otherwise, you wouldn't need to run the clear amulet. You could just run Oblivious, and Oblivious allows you to um negate ignore the Intimidate anyway. So it has to be thick fat to better deal with Surge. We see a normal Terra from Ceruledge. I did not notice that this is normal Terra. I'm unsure what that means. Maybe it's weakness policy with the Sneasel, but I'm scared that it's gonna take a lot from the Sneasel fighting move.
It was probably to stop
Oh,
from dying to
it's
Shadow Bolts from the
yeah,
Typhlosion.
yeah. Yes. Although in this case I assume it's doing that so that it doesn't die to the Helping Hand Earthquake, which probably doesn't kill now. Oh, you see a reflect, and that is wow, very interesting. Okay, so you do see the protect, and I think that Daiya, I assume, recognized that it probably would end up being thick fat, and chose to poltergeist for damage instead, because it does look like if the reflected, well, no, reflect doesn't halve the damage; it just cuts it by 1.5, I believe. So it wouldn't have died to poltergeist either way. But this reflect definitely makes the lives of both the Salamence and Ceruledge really annoying, unless it's special Salamence. Yeah, Mammosaur looks like it's free to click either Earthquake again or Ice Move into the supplements. Which it might be safer to click Ice Move into supplements because it already clicked Protect, and Terra's been revealed on Cerulege, and Cerulege is not boosted. So Intimidate from Scraggy comes out, Pachirisu comes in, Protect comes out. I would have clicked Ice Move there, and yep, you see the Ice Move gets clicked. It's Icicle Spear instead of what do you call it? Icicle Crash or Ice Shard, which I mean, if you're gonna run Icicle Spear, I think I would have, unless you were really afraid of like the fire moves coming from Cerulege, which you could run a Terra for. I do think that Helios could have just run Oblivious and the loaded dice with Icicle Spear. Because Icicle Spear is really good into weak armor Cerulege because you proc weak armor of every hit, and that allows it to get a speed boost on every hit, but also lower its defense of every hit. So especially if Cerulege Terras, the Icicle Spear with loaded dice almost certainly just kills it instantly, even if it has like a bulk up boost or a coaching boost. So yeah, questionable whether Clear Amulet plus Stick Fat was necessary. Yeah, the Cerulege is forced out on the last turn because you just click Protect, and it was vulnerable to getting hit by the EQ. Pachirisu, if it has Protect, should probably click Protect solid last turn of EQ, and hope that Mamoswine clicked Earthquake and not Ice Move into the incoming slot. But Helios has shown to have good play from his first week one game, so I wouldn't even be surprised to see an Ice Move just being clicked directly into the slot. Protect us, but yeah, because the Protect is really obvious. Coaching gets clicked instead of Fake Out, all but Earthquake gets clicked. Somewhat disappointing. Bronzong gets sorry. Oh, it was Ice Shot, not Icicle Spear. Okay, that makes sense. Which doesn't kill the Pachirisu. Outrage very, very, very luckily targets the Mamoswine. Because if you don't know, Outrage it's a 120 base power move, but you don't get to choose your target. So there was a complete 50-50 chance that it would either hit the Mamoswine or hit the Bronzong. I guarantee you that Outrage hit the Bronzong with the Reflect Up and the Everlight and its natural typing and defenses, it would not have done any meaningful damage whatsoever. But now we do see the last mon from Helios, which is Dragalge. Dragalge should be forced into terraing here because we have not seen Helios like Terra yet, and there is a 50-50% chance that Outrage gets targeted into the slot, and you can't afford to lose your Dragalge because that's your only last form of like real damage because you have a Scraggy and a Bronzor. And the Bronzor has gotten like great value this game, and it's probably going to be able to get out a second trick room, but you can't afford to lose your damage, right? Yeah, Dragalge clicks Terra, Follow Me gets clicked. Outrage does land into Dragalge, but I do think that Bronzor is able to click the Trick Room here, and the Sludge Wave kills both. Yep. We have to see a Shadow Snake kills, which it does, but does Bronzor have any damage? You're currently seeing two NFEs beat down a Cerulege. It's nice. I'm glad Helios didn't go for the route of like completely no damage on both the support mons because you can already see that the Bronzor it worked really well with what he had. Like you can see that Trick Room was both good with the Mamoswine and the Dragalge, and with Levitate and a Steel typing, it was both able to dodge the spread moves of Earthquake and Sludge Wave from the Terra Poison, Life Orb Dragalge, and the Mamoswine with Helping Hand. So the Bronzong was actually like really, really nice with what he brought. Yeah, I'm just overall pretty impressed by what the Bronzong had to offer. As for Daiya, adaptation is going to be interesting. I do think that knowing that the Scraggy has Intimidate it's possible that the Milotic can come with like coil hypnosis, because I think limiting the bronze sword with being putting it to sleep would help her team a lot in game two. So I'm just hoping that Milotic is coil hypnosis and is able to just spam those moves freely, because it doesn't look like the Mons here can actually like take up a Milotic. Well, yeah. So you see, yes, the adaptation, we do see Milotic come in game two in the lead with the Surge. Competitive instantly gets boost procced. We do see that the Surge isn't running something like a clear amulet, so it does get intimidated. Mens comes out, intimidates both the opposing Mons. Medicham opts to click Terra Normal instantly, which is funny because you see Terra Normal from both sides, one on the Surge, one on the Medicham, both in order to dodge ghost moves from the opposing team. It's really funny. Jacob gets clicked into Melodic. It's probably flinching here. And Trick Room gets clicked with Medicham. So yeah, it is double Trick Room with Helios. Medicham you normally attribute to being an offensive threat with pure power, but if it's not very tanky, but if you do manage to like set it up, it can still get the Trick Room off, as you saw right here. The Medicham does end up being in a decent position. If it is carrying Ice Punch, it's still very threatening to the Salamence. However, I don't think it does enough damage to the Milotic with the Intimidate drop. However, Scraggy, I do believe, has stuff like it can do stuff like foul play, it can do stuff like coaching, helping hand, even endeavor. Because the big reason why, if you ever have any context of why Scraggy is being run in like regulations where restricted are run, such as Calyrex Ice Rider, is because stuff like Endeavor does a lot to those mons. And it having lower HP than Scrafty means that Endeavor, even at 100%, is doing a lot. And so you can kind of apply that here. Endeavor or Super Fang into the Melodic is doing a ton of damage, so that it might end up putting it into Medicham range. But we do just see a coaching come out and a Zen Headbutt, which allows it to do over 50%, but doesn't take out the Melodic instantly. However, I do see that if with coaching it's only doing 58, it's very likely that even with a Super Fang or Endeavor, the Melodic would not have died in one anyways. But the Zen Headbutt does get a flinch, which is incredibly impactful and very unfortunate for Daiya. Outrage goes into the Scraggy. Probably not ideal. You would have wanted it to go into the Medicham, but you already did get like Outrage luck in the first game. So like Outrage goes and Outrage takes away. Second coaching comes down. Then Headbutt goes into the Mens instead, which I don't know if I agree with. I think that, frankly, I think like Scraggy could have just like foul played into the Mens. Medicham could have finished off the Milotic, and because the Mens isn't doing a lot in the Trick Room, plus like the Medicham is like +1 defense already. It's not gonna OHKO. So yeah, Icy Wind does manage to take uh take out the Scraggy, but you do see that Medicham didn't get the speed drop, which uh signifies that it's covert cloak, which is useful for stuff like Sneasel's fake out, but also ignores secondary effect of Icy Wind. And you know it's covert cloak because one, I'm pretty sure if it was clear amulet, it would the pop would show on the screen saying that the clear amulet stops its stats from being lowered. And two, you already saw the clear amulet of Mammosaur. So yeah. So Pachirisu comes out, probably click follow me, but uh I think the dragon move should be able to be enough to kill the Pachirisu from a life object galaxy, and Medicham should be able to take out the
Or it might just Sludge Wave again.
well, Sludge Wave would kill your own Medicham. Oh, but it opts to click Sludge Bomb instead, which means it doesn't end up killing, and which means that the Medicham actually dies to the +2 skull. Sludge Wave is a it targets every mod in the field, including your partner, and I'm pretty sure that would have just freaking murdered the Terra Normal Medicham. So I don't think that was ever the click. But I was expecting a Draco Meteor, which judging from Sludge Bomb damage, it's like almost is it? Because okay, Sludge Bomb is 90 base power, and he needed to do an extra 1/3, which means it would need to be 120 base power, which means yeah, Draco would have killed. Yeah, so if Helios had Draco Meteor, I'm very surprised that he didn't opt to click Draco into the Pachirisu and just finish off the Milotic. I'm not sure if it actually matters because I don't think my Alex often carry Protect to stall out Trick Room, which seems to be a common theme. But yeah, I do think that. Oh, I mean, I guess yeah, Mammoth can click Earthquake, but again, you see that not being able to stall out last turns of Trick Rooms have been pretty unfortunate for the players who are facing it. And so you see Helios pick up another a 2-0 game win, and Daiya drops down to 0-2. Which, yeah, I feel like I wasn't the biggest fan of Helios' team, but he seems to have like a very good idea of what he wants to do with it, and he's piloting it pretty well. So like, I'm not sure if I should be saying stuff this early, but Helios might be an early front runner for a possible winner of the season. At the very least, I'd be shocked to see Helios not make playoffs. He's been piloting his team well, and he seems to like be very comfortable with it.
And making me look at Bronzor like it's a good Pokemon.
Bronzor looked like a good Pokemon. You're right. It did do its job very effectively in that game. So kudos to it.